Now in part 3 here, we'll introduce you to some of the training materials. There is the training manual itself, and it comes with numerous handouts and videos. There are bonus handouts too that you'll modify and use in your business, saving you time and effort. You'll learn about several different ways you can take training, and I try to be as flexible as possible within your availability. You're going to see how easy it is to train with us. My 6-part training has stood the test of time and has helped hundreds become fully self-employed freight brokers. You'll learn about my young client who was doing $1,000 days shortly after taking my training. But he is probably the exception for sure, not the norm. But who knows? Who knows what awaits you? Lastly, I'll mention a strategy that will help you explode your business after you've got your business organized and running. Hi, my name is John Thomas, and again we're going to be exploring part 3 of a 7-part series. This particular series is directed toward truck drivers, logistics and supply chain workers, and entrepreneurs. Specifically here, we're going to look at the training materials and your training options. Normally, all of the following are emailed to you before the beginning of training. You'll have a 6-part instruction manual, you'll have handouts, you'll have videos and bonuses. The first part of the training consists of getting organized and getting your broker authority, getting your company set up and doing the applications for the broker authority. Part 2 includes the essential tools of the trade. For example, how to calculate rates using the load boards, how to deal with rate negotiation, setting up databases, and so forth. In part 3 of the training manual, we'll get into finding and working with shippers. We get into the setup package that you'll put together and send to shippers. We'll talk about different search strategies. You don't want to follow the herd. We'll get into taking the order and posting the load, and so on and so forth. In part 4, pre-qualifying and working with motor carriers. Here we will deal with preparing the setup package that you'll send to truckers, finding trucks, booking the load, sending and receiving the agreements and confirmations, etc. Then in part 5, we'll get into the business, credit, legal, and financial issues. For example, in the handout, there's a load manager template. We'll talk about credit, cash management, claims, accounting, potential problems, etc. And then lastly, in part 6, we'll talk about some legislation and other related legal issues. For example, we'll look at some legislation like CSA 2010, Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century, MAP 21. We'll get into the FAST Act. We'll get into the hours of service and avoiding negligent carrier selection and broker liability, etc. And the bonuses, which we'll go into more detail in another episode further along. These 6 steps are what took me from 0 clients to working with hundreds and hundreds of them. And guess what? You too can learn how to do all these things, no matter where you are located and no matter where your customers and carriers are. I've trained clients who are in Iraq, Kuwait, the Philippines, Okinawa, Canada, and most of the United States. Now, as a truck broker, you will be working with companies in potentially all 48 states. You may work right off of your kitchen table if you like. Your shippers and carriers don't care. They just want a good, hardworking, reliable person to partner up with. This 6-part strategy, as outlined above, is the missing link that successful brokers have learned and others haven't. This is your step-by-step guide to crafting a money-making machine that generates repeat business and streams of income for as long as you or your associates work the business. Which leads us to the topic of money. What is your income potential as a freight broker? Realistically, the income potential is unlimited. That's the good news. The bad news? Normally, you don't start out with a bang, and if you are starting from scratch, it will take some time to get established. However, while you are building your freight broker business, your overhead and operating expenses will be relatively low. Telephone, office supplies, load boards, and maybe the trust fund will be your biggest expenses. Our training will put you on a fast track that will have you calling on potential customers in about 30 days. You may not start out doing 10 to 15 loads per week, but when you do the math, you may be looking at a very, very nice level of income. For example, you will be monitoring your average net profit per load after paying the truck. Then multiply that average times the number of loads you expect to move. For example, here we're looking at $160 profit after paying the truck. So if you do 2 loads a week, that would be $320. You do 5 loads, you're looking at $800. You do 10 loads, you're looking at $1,600. Usually it starts slow, but everyone is different. I do have some people that get off to a fast start, and usually it's because they have contacts. Remember my client mentioned in episode 1 who had as many as 200 loads? He was doing $1,000 days. He is an exception, and you should not expect this type of income early on. But he did it. Why can't you? He wasn't taken aside and given any special treatment. For sure, what he did do was take action. In a future episode, we'll discuss using freight agents to help grow your business. Using broker agents is a different animal, but very worthwhile if you know what you're doing here. If you are willing to go down this road, I have an ebook that's available in our training. Now, you won't hear too many success stories from smaller private freight brokers, and you may not find anyone to work under, even if you're willing to work for free. Why? Brokers don't want the competition. They are not about to give you their hard-earned secrets only to later have you run off on your own. Does this make sense? Let's take a look at another satisfied customer. I am glad I signed up for the course. It was a good experience and a good investment. It was patently obvious to me that a lot of time and attention was directed toward presenting a very professional package. I feel that I benefited a lot, and now it's up to me to put what I learned into practice. I'm particularly happy about having all the handouts and training book to use as a resource as I try to become more cognizant of the freight brokering business. Thank you for all your help. This was from Dan Lambert in Dallas, Texas. So let's take a look at your training options. You have 3 ways to train. First, you can train live here in El Paso, Texas, and over the past several years, more people have come here for live training rather than over the telephone and internet. But if you are unable to travel, then yes, we can do the entire training over the telephone and internet. Or there is the home study. With each option, you receive a comprehensive and detailed training manual. It's about maybe 130, 150 pages to print out. You'll receive 40 handouts, some of which you'll modify and use in your business, like the 4-page broker carrier agreement, the load confirmation, the setup packages, etc., and about 30 videos that help explain most of the handouts. For the telephone and online training, you'll be emailed a link to download the manual. We'll get together over the phone once or twice a week for 1 to 2 hours per session. We go through the entire program. You'll have the program in front of you on your computer, and I'll do likewise. With each option, except for the home study, you have unlimited support. I'll stick with you as long as you need me, and you'll let me know when that is. There are up to 3 months of email support for the home study. There you have them, 3 training options. In the next episode, we will explore why you should train with ATEX. We'll further explore what to expect and why this program should be your only option. This is ATEX Freight Broker Training in El Paso, Texas, and you can reach me at info@atexfreightbrokertraining.com. Thanks for watching.